Hi everyone, thank you for being here today. I think we can all agree this was pretty unexpected, so it means that much more that you're all here today. For those of you who don't know me or haven't seen me in a while, my name's Zachary and I was Grandpa Steve's grandson. I think a good place to start as any with Grandpa Steve would be his sense of humor. Something we could certainly use here today, something we will sorely miss. No matter what the occasion was, he always had a joke to tell. Whether you were at the family Christmas party and it was going off the rails, or you were in a crowded elevator in New York City, there was always a joke to tell. You weren't sure whether it was appropriate to laugh at the joke, but he always had a joke. Perhaps his favorite type of humor, in my observations, was poking fun at Grandma Elta, and I'd like to think that they're continuing that tradition today. But it was Grandpa Steve's sense of humor that made it easy to forget or perhaps overlook what a hard worker he was. He was the first Voortman franchise owner in the United States and continued to own and operate that route for many decades, right up until the day he passed. Members of his family have been working his route since his passing, and although they are far younger and have only done it for a few days, they go home absolutely exhausted from the same work he did every day for all those years, wondering how a 76-year-old man could handle that amount and that type of work for so long. Since Grandpa Steve's passing, it's become abundantly clear that people outside this room will miss him as well. In fact, many store owners, managers, and employees have expressed how deeply they loved and respected the man and how they will miss seeing him every week. Additionally, I'm sure we could spend the rest of the week talking about the outpouring of love that we've all received through social media, phone calls, and whatnot, sent to us from all over the country from people who have spent time with Grandpa Steve. People who, like us, can't believe he's gone. What was quickly made clear every single time you visited Grandpa was how immensely proud he was of his family, and particularly his grandchildren. He truly wanted to know each and every one of them as well as he could. He took the time to sit down and talk with you and learn what was going on in your life. You'd obviously hear a bit about his own life because no Szkolnik conversation lasts less than 20 minutes, but he would get to you eventually. For me, my favorite conversations with Grandpa involved him teaching me at a young age how to best appreciate a Yankees or a Syracuse basketball game. Now, as a child, I was very obsessed with school, learning. My parents are probably appreciative of that and may not appreciate this next part as much, but I was obsessed just with books. And whether he realized it or not, Grandpa taught me that you can learn just as much from Jim Boeheim as you can Ernest Hemingway. And you can learn just as much from watching a baseball game with your father or grandfather as you can any book. Now, whenever everything in the world seems chaotic and as if everything can never make sense, I can sit down and watch a Yankees game, and knowing that somewhere out there, Grandpa is hoping for ring 28 just like me. Speaking of sports, I think it's fair to say that if Grandpa loved his family most, bowling would be a close second. Perhaps, as I've been told, some people thought he liked bowling a bit too much, as I've heard that his bowling balls often ended up being thrown into the yard, into the snow, and sometimes even at him. But one place his bowling balls never ended up was the gutter. As we all know, oh, it's pretty good. Okay, there we go. Hold your applause till the end, please. We all know Grandpa enjoyed great success during his lengthy bowling career. In 1960, he was named the High School Bowler of the Year. In 1984, he was a member of the New York State Tournament Championship team. And in 1997, he was ultimately inducted into the Syracuse Bowling Hall of Fame. Over the years, Grandpa Steve was a member of teams that won the Syracuse City League, the three-man Classic Leagues, the Greater Syracuse League, and the Post-Standard Classic League. He did everything he could to pass his love for bowling on to us, as I can recall consecutive Christmases when I received a bowling ball and then a bowling bag for Christmas. Grandpa did his best to teach me why he gave me a fingertip drilled ball and how best to use it, but unfortunately he couldn't pass his bowling talent on to me, but I suppose his talent was largely unrivaled. Grandpa Steve was many things to many different people. Whether you saw him as your husband, your father, your grandfather, even great-grandfather, or even a bowling rival, or the Voortman Cookie Monster, we will all surely miss Grandpa Steve and everything he selflessly gave during his lifetime. Luckily, he was more than willing to make memories with each and every one of us that will undoubtedly last forever and be used by everyone in this room to remember him in our own way. Thank you.